Can you give roll call, please?
Amy McLaren, Jeff Gillis,
Here.
Gail Thompson, Paul Berger, Dan Spar, Conrad Moore, Andrew Kloppenstein, Paula Mendez, Tom Maroon, Andy Rhodes here, Simon Grimm, Josh Ray, Ida Livingston,
Here.
Brett Tucker, Art Lee, Dustin Sutton, Dennis Carr,
Here.
John Oliphant, here, Patrick Meyer,
Here.
Dan Newport,
Here.
Karen Dvorsky, King Kreider, Charles Hess, Craig Loudermilk,
Here.
Josh Harkin,
Here.
LG Cheney, Opie Kissa, Cameron Robinson, Aaron Miller,
Here.
Andy Bay, Gene Olson.
All right, public comment. There any public comments? Can we see some new faces in the crowd with anybody like to introduce themselves, please?
Yeah, I got a new position starting 2 weeks ago, so the biggest been our program engineers this fall. So until we switch over and we bring her along to the president, then everything's fine. I'm still here, I'm not gone, it's just studies and findings.
So we're basically doing this.
At some point,
Okay,
but we're all in the process together, so nobody's going away.
And what was her name again?
Domingo.
Lopez. Domingo.
So this is Rainy, joined IDOT a month ago. Right now working in the local roads.
Say your name again?
Same time. It's just come along.
And Steve Pateki, local group. We recently opened an office in Florida. Our headquarters is out in Chicago, but we are planning on hosting an open house for our office building. But I'll have more details on that probably next month.
Can I get approval? Can I get approval of meeting minutes for the March 18th, 2026 meeting? Any questions, concerns? Everybody would like to approve it, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Release of the 2026 combined call for projects. So Michael, thank you.
Yes. So in the packet, we have an attachment, but I'll just go over some things here really fast. Then we'll, get on our website and look at the combined call for projects webpage. But so this year, Tri-County is, releasing our combined call for project again, which combines, a total of 4 funding programs that Tri-County has into a single coordinated application process. And it is being released today. Those funding programs are our carbon reduction program, which will have a total of $630,405. Our section 5310 program, which we have $365,286. Our surface transportation block grant pavement preservation set aside, which we have a total of $811,669. And then our surface transportation block grant, our traditional funding pocket for reconstruction, we have $3,246,678. And then last but not least, our transportation alternative set aside has a total of $807,963 available for funding. Our anticipated schedule is for releasing it today. We're expecting at your all's next technical committee meeting to establish our project review subcommittee We are establishing it a little bit early. Because the applications aren't due until 9 days later, on the 29th at 4:30 PM. And then staff will be reviewing the applications, the first week of June, and then releasing the application packets for review, to the established project review subcommittee, that Friday, June 5th, for them to review, the next following 2 weeks, to individually review, and score, and then we'll, meet on a kind of like a review panel basis based on the different applications, funding streams, to have our, 4 review panels, meet to kind of average everyone's scores together, to make a discussion, or have a discussion and then make a recommendation. That'll happen in late June, and then we are expecting, the full recommendation, for approval coming to you guys, during your July, meeting, July 15th, with a August 5th mission recommendation. So to keep, that's a pretty fast schedule. And we're doing that because we have some section 5310 funds, that have to be, programs, to avoid, lapsing. So, to keep the process moving, as I mentioned, we'll be having the project review subcommittee established, at your May technical committee meeting. Staff will be calling all member jurisdictions a couple days before that meeting to kind of survey, everyone to see who is applying for what. You don't need to know anything about the project, just, what, if you're applying for, funding, what funding, kind of category you're going for, what funding source, so we can have an idea of who would be eligible to review, and score projects, during the main technical meeting. That way we have an unbiased, review of all of our, projects. Just a kind of reminder, our, human service transportation plan, the urban subcommittee will be the reviewers for all transit projects, and then, members from you all will be the ones that review for the remainder, paper preservation, paper construction, and, transportation alternative projects. That is really about it. So everybody, you want to, we have a project, a webpage, on our website. So if you just go to our work and then under funding, there's a call for projects. Call for projects that you can click on. It brings you to this page. And then we have, the call for projects memo that's in your packet available, the application, which is a survey 123, format for you all to fill out. Just kind of go through that, and based on what you answer, it'll and point you to the correct, correct questions, and it's relatively, more straightforward than asking around.
So, every guy was ready
Good question.
Yeah, I actually had a couple comments for you guys. So, the question was, will it save as you go? Yes, it will save as you go along. So you can click through. I think there's 9 pages, but it'll save your answers so you can click through, see what's coming up. Also, we got a few questions. If it would send you a response or send you a copy of your responses when you submit. If you submit today, it probably won't, because we're still working out a few bugs with that. But if you wait and submit, early May, it probably will send you a copy of your responses.
But if it doesn't, just let us know.
Yeah.
We can export. We can send it.
Michael, what was the year of the event?
So it's kind of an array here. So for carbon reduction, we have FY 26 funding. For section 5310, We have some carryover balance FY 25 and FY 26. For the STPG traditional preservation, those are just carryover funding
How many years are we talking about? 7
through 28.
through 20?
That's what that means. This is gonna be 29.
Well, so this is carryover funding, so if you're able to do it sooner, then that is potential. That, yeah, so at our January technical committee, if you remember, we decided as a group to not program any further out, just because of the uncertainties of the new transportation bill, exactly where the funding allotments would go. With the IIJA, they said it would increase, are they going to go back down, are they going to stay the same? It's unknown at this time. So instead of projecting out and assuming it's going to stay the same, we're just kind of doing a wait and see. And we don't know, maybe do another process for this DBT.
So potentially they're approved in August. Go next year. That go like for a overlay project that would go for 35.
You could, yeah, assuming you can get fair to favor with local roads. And then transportation alternative, we have some carryover in FY 26. So everything is early, this current year earlier. We're out through 20. So we're 2 years past in terms.
There is a continuing resolution.
No, this is just a FYI.
Discussion of draft certification review report.
So included in, on the actual agenda is a link to the draft certification review report that you all can review. But just to kind of give you an overview, as you all know, we just went through our certification review, conducted jointly with the FHWA and MTA. I know there and representatives from City League there as well. The review was kind of a 3-phase review. They had prior to our meeting, they had an in-depth review of all of the MPO documents. And then there was also a public comment period. And then we had our on-site meeting on March 10th. The overall results were that we got fully certified for the next 4 years. There were no corrective actions. There were a total of 8 accommodations, and then there was a total of 9 recommendations. So just to go over the accommodations really fast and the recommendations. So the accommodations, there was the use of planning funds. So just effective use of our MPO planning funds by having our special transportation studies. Since we started this in our FY 2016, we had nearly 40 studies completed. For our long range transportation plan, our current update, we included an appendix that was a federal compliance checklist. So that they commended us for that. For transit coordination, commended us for our strong collaborative work between Tri-County and City Link that Gavin's working and Reed's working and Isaiah. I guess everyone. That is for a development of a bus stop accessibility plan where they're inventorying all of the bus stops in our region to help inform future accessibility investments. And then project selection prioritization. They commended us on the creation of the combined development projects across our federal funding programs. I think this was today. for the public and stakeholder engagement, our strategic transportation planning process, or sorry, planning session that we had in 2022, where we had approximately 100 attendees, and then as a result, created our regional prioritization project list for the freight and economic development. We collaborate with our local regional port district to develop the port district master plan and the safety plan. Did our safety plan and establish the safety. In terms of recommendation, there's just continue removing, so there's still some references in our documents and our website on who apps, just removing those and updating to make sure that everyone's consistent and understands that Tri-County is the Unified Work Planning Program, which we actually already completed, but just a better track, multi-year and regional build-based planning projects, so you see what projects span multiple years. Performance-based planning, right, and clear documentation of our performance targets that we've adopted on the website. Physical constraint clarity, enhance the LRT narrative, better explain what we did. It's a tip. They want us to strengthen the explanation of each tip project on how they are adopting performance targets. And then they would encourage you, IDOTs and coordinates about things review of draft documents. That is a quick overview of that draft plan that you can all review. Should hopefully have a final here.
If there was one thing to take away from that from you all, was a strong, the urging strong connection between performance measures and project selection. So we're about to engage with project selection. Taking a look at the performance measures, the region's performance measures, to adapt the project to best address those concerns for those factors. Performance measures are on the website. Yes.
Currently, it's on our website under the agenda stuff, but we're going to put it under our website. We have a under our work transportation, there is a performance measure web page. So one of the recommendations was just taking the those that we use, we adopt performance measures and put them on there, which is something that today that's releasing. So.
Other questions? Updates, FY 2026 safe streets and roads for all.
Okay, so also included in the packet is just a it's a high level overview of the last safe streets for all roads this is the last funding year of this program. So we just kind of wanted to see and understand if there was any of you all interested in applying for actual implementation projects at Tri County. We are looking at it and trying to come up with an idea for maybe like a demonstration project. So coming up with a potential pilot low cost IPAC countermeasures to slow down cars, and then include a kind of like a marketing campaign with that to just kind of help hopefully include messaging to about cell phone use, distracted driving, so kind of use both as a sort of way to slow down drivers and make them a little more safe on the roads. It's kind of our current thoughts, still very sure popular. It's approved, so we're eligible for participation projects.
So I can tell you the demonstration can't put anything permanent in the ground, right? So just be very thoughtful about how you do that. If you do anything that's an actual like roadway project, you have to go through a full federal PDR process. So people are that.
Reach out to staff if you'd like to hear more, collaborate with us, or obviously if you're going to do an implementation project, we're available for what are some support.
Questions? I don't look for you take this back.
In addition to some comments from Tony, packets.
Jacob, can you speak up, please?
Yeah, I can talk louder. All right, we have new personnel in central office. Mary Kay has joined as the local program development engineer. Sorry to steal that. And reminder for SPAC coming up on the 13th and 14th here in Peoria. Please RSVP for attending the half-day presentation and RSVP for appointments if you want to express local projects in your area. You can find all that on the website to RSVP for those. The ITEP program is now fully GATA exempt, and the ITEP cycle is offering 157 million statewide, raised from 3 million per project to 5 million per project, and there will be a match assistance for it. And as we get into construction season, to encourage safety for everyone in work zones, National Work Zone Awareness Week is April 20th through the 24th. Media events nationwide on April 21st. Go Orange Day, wear your orange on April 27th. Oh, yeah.
Back for focus.
Staff here, also the picture share. Some comments, they should have read, that they should have read, some staff. The processes are talking about themselves. So I appreciate all this work, putting back and forth. Comments. Haven't changed together. Just revisions, the dollar amounts change. So incorporate some of the comments that it's into the studies. Other than that, I think this is where said this is a big so get there, so it's a focus of good and everybody. Go on more. Or for some other sort of program. So if you've got something that you really that could be great for some application.
Keeping on street for FHWA. Other, Eric, we talked about the handout. BT sub allocation.
Yeah, everybody had a copy of this draft letter. Doug, help me out if I stumble. Basically, we were approached by the Rockford NPO. This has been going on for a couple of years now. The Rockford NPO has an issue with the way IDOT has been sub-allocated STEG dollars. They claim that each TNA is essentially getting shorted the money that Congress with the transportation bill has authorized each region, especially TNAs. There's a formula that was developed in the early 90s to determine that. And I've had discussions with Doug, Brandon, Joe, the managers at IDOT that sort of understand this. And their thoughts are that each region is told terms of the way it comes out at the bottom line. One way or another, we're getting all the money that is appropriated for the Peoria team. Some of that money may go to IDOT projects. Some of that money may go to county STR funds. But Rockford's claiming that that's not the way Congress intended for this program to work. They intended for NPOs to decide where those funds go, how those funds are spent. And they've thrown out numbers that our STBG allocation could increase up to 60%. I mean, I'm trying to, but there's perhaps a significant increase, but that would all come, you know, there's no extra money there. It would come at the expense of the county, or it would come at the expense of NIDA. So we've been asked to sign on to this letter for a review of the process. And we're going to run it by technical people that it affects the most, perhaps, whether it's the county who potentially could get shorted some STR funds, IDOT that could potentially have to find funding somewhere else, or for roads that go through each of our communities. And I, add to our pot of money that we program. So the thought is that Rockford's going around each NPO asking them to sort of sign on to this letter for the review. It's not changing. They've indicated that they've talked to Chicago, and this is a highly edited letter based on Chicago's comments. So I want to get your thoughts on it, and perhaps this is something that we're interested in. Obviously, we would take sort of the consensus here and bring it to the commission for sort of a final sort of thoughts. But want to get your all input on this and see what you'd like to do as a region.
Well, I'm the only county guy sitting here today. I'll speak for Wicker, which I will agree. I'm probably say that if we don't want our SDR, we get maybe 590,000 a year, maybe SDR goes for the bridges or Maxwell Road, things like urban roads that maybe don't qualify for SDR or don't make this huge on them. So shorten us on the federal level. So that would give us the
Senator Mabel, they shared the data, says this is not a good name, that's have those registered with intensive organization. We don't know that, that's easy.
But the request here is to look for consistency with what the federal regs actually say. Premises that they've not been following.
My understanding in other states, the NPO has a lot more authority as it relates to funding all federal projects. And IDOT would be, the district would be sort of a participant in the process, as opposed to the governor handing over the multi-year plan with our STBG sort of program within the IDOT projects, and that's sort of the process to like accept it or not approved. That's sort of the way it works now. Other states it works differently.
Not every city, not every city policy have. So what Rocky can go into, it's not to be another further essentially what happens that's way. Organize your across the country this was. Yes, so it's $5 million. Back in the 90s when it first started coming out of this,
kind of great, there's state of my staff, this is going to program, consultation, and all of associations, health, how all the members of the house, if that portion, that portion, city, that portion, everything. But the basis of it is that regardless if it gets it by federal guidance, in an NPO, whatever that number is, that you guys are releasing, that number has to be spent in that area of the project. That doesn't mean that the project this year, it's like 25 this year. Stage of $20 million project, not that. So it doesn't seem to. But what Rockers is saying is that, well, let's say 5 million, the NPO should get all of that 5 million. Everybody goes through the process, whether it's a state, locals, they all have to the process for the projects and be selected. That's what Roberts they're saying. Not arguing for the money not to spend. We're saying we should have control of the amount of money the state is supposed to be. Not the ocean down. Sure, that's about that.
It's gonna make an assumption here. I'm assuming that the Rockford MPO, their entire MPO is an urbanized area. Only half of Erie County is in the MPO. Only a portion of Winter County and a portion of Tasman County is in the MPO. So now this group is going to decide if. Yeah, no, I'm just, no, I understand.
We'll support the NPOs, whatever they want, whatever they want to put on their side. So I'll do what you're saying. Yeah.
And then what about like?
And the way they do it too, based on this formula, like it's incorporated population. So you've got a lot of unincorporated area and that population does not count. So not.
Well, what happens too to like terms like Woodford County, Schuyler County, Mason County, that are not even in anything.
How would the non-renewal folks get money now?
Something different.
So that one.
So that formula also allows for urban city areas that are not in, like the coast or even in Greenville, the 5,000 to get a portion of ST. That's just the formula that it is. Under the news, under a different scenario, they might be shut out. It might. I get more, who knows? But the question is, the formula was developed in the early 90s. It is what it is. It needs to be working. To obviously we've all want more money. It's not going to provide more money to the whole region. It's just the way of getting control to a group or having less control of the money.
And, like in Iowa, it's really the legislation so far. So all of every part of the state of Iowa is covered by a blank steel education. Whether they have an MPO or not, there's some RFPs, that's all they're doing. It's license for companies to have it. But the legislation, it's basically laws and a portion of this RFPs. Otherwise, just have something to the state legislation. That's just another example of one other state is done. So it's done differently. But there's some states. So my interpretation of this parliament's states, it's also a question that can be language why. That's something that's all the things that
I think that's the other thing. Reauthorization is drastically changing everything about it.
If we know reauthorization is going to not issue, it's fine. That doesn't happen. want to at least if you look at if you get down the board, get it all in the years, but county, everything else to reach it.
Is there any chance that if they relook at it, some of this money doesn't get allocated to say the IDOT projects? That if Chicago has enough force that they don't do IDOT projects in Chicago, then the state funds different funding mechanisms towards the IDOT roads in Chicago and bring more from the south.
Anything's possible. So so, one thing that I sort of perhaps see from Margaret's perspective is that the state does use STB funds on the, we approved the tip amendment last month, only 26 in Woodford County, you got $2 million with state match. So that's STBG money that's going to the urbanized area, that's not going to the local municipalities, going to state highway, but benefiting the county in this instance. Now, could the state have paid for that with state-only funds that they're sitting on? Perhaps. That's the question here, is the state has other ways of raising money, which they're raising quite a bit to fund their own projects. That's one argument from Rockland's perspective, is that the state has a way of funding their own projects without federal.
Yes, one. All the money flows from being good with all the products in this town, yes, yes. Think that so the county section, it's a mistake. It's supposed to be marketing. That's all.
I think that the question is, do you look at the formula? You request to look at the formula. The formula is gonna, and you have a lot of different inputs on this that may not work out to our set of it at all.
Right now, I'm programmed to purchase 340,000. Now, then every other year, I'm gonna have to apply, do an application, and not know about it. That's just a really. Open the 12 zones. I got my control, forecast it out. With this, I'm gonna apply. But
In its simplest form, though, isn't this funding formula another example of the state dictating the locals? This is how you're gonna get things done. The whole premise of this original language was to allow regional folks to decide these are projects that are important to us. So, and I don't think there's any harm in having them take a look at it. This is a formula that was established 40 years ago, 30 years ago, but probably not a bad idea to look at it. See what's going on.
The total amount of money we're talking about. Is it, $10 million a year? 30% goes to the state and 1% goes to the counties and the rest of it's to the. I think you could probably do the yearly thing, but when you try to account each year, you're not full. What Doug said is that Pleasant Bridge replacements taking, X amount of federal dollars for a given year, and we're probably taking from different pots of money, which in other urban areas, but over the life of the bill, regions full. Yeah. But can we tell about it on average? I don't know. I think we can probably find that out. The other thing is, once you start messing with state processes and maybe other groups involved, it can become very messy. Law limits and consequences, and so the time, this would not be probably a great deal. Lots of things. I have
I would tie it 40 years old, there's nothing wrong with looking. they're just gonna play because the NPOs, because Rock, we're just looking at the Rock area, Chicago's just in the Chicago. It's not good for the rest of the state.
Well, I mean, this is already been brought to the secretary. I said, that's really right.
And IDOT's told me that they're not against this, it's just they're not one that's going to initiate this with the employers. If Bill wants to just make the voice heard and they'll take a look at it.
Everybody involved wants to do this, maybe. So not to, that's not, that's.
I plan on something like this. Under sign.
Yeah, I don't think there's a deadline. I think they're trying to get consensus on those to sign up with whether or not.
And I suggest that we have some more data. Think about it and talk to those that get vacancies. Big groups. 16, that's all.
You should see right now, this started. States and the other smaller.
But this came up 2 years ago. I talked to Amy and she said that the Highway Engineers Association they were vehemently opposed to this. They were opposed. Strong, it's pretty strong.
So this has been brought up.
It has. It's been circulating for, well, it goes back 30 years to the one of the Rockford directors. Brought this up, for instance, Fever. I brought this up 30 years ago, like said, hey, we're not getting a fair share.
Is it always been wrong for the initiation?
Yeah, glad to discuss any comments back to you. That's been.
I have another Unified Work Program, we sent to the county board last month, but back in the system's draft. We sent out the it's the only one I have is the draft, so the draft one.
It's on our website, but yeah, I can send it out to you as well.
One more quick comment. So just this morning, I got an email about BRIC. So this is the Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities program. It's a funding program that funds hazard mitigation activities. So many of your communities participated in our hazard mitigation process. And we have 3 plans, one for each county. And there's projects specific to each jurisdiction within those. So this is a funding program that comes out periodically. We were a little bit unsure with this administration, but it looks like it just was released. So the due date is June 26th, and I can send this email to everyone.
Right, any others? Next meeting is scheduled for May 20th. Motion to adjourn. Second. It's adjourned. Thank you.